Hello there, my name is Jack Edwards and welcome to my YouTube channel.
On tonight's program, ladies and gentlemen, we have something that's going to make you sick.
So today is my first day of the whole academic year where I have contact hours. Now, contact hours are basically any time you spend with an academic, a professor, someone who runs your course. And contact hours usually consist of lectures, seminars, tutorials, and like one-to-one sessions. Today I have one tutorial and one seminar, and basically I realized that online there is pretty much no information about how to prep for tutorials and seminars and what they actually are. And so today I basically thought I would sort of try to fill the void a little bit and show you how I am prepping. So firstly, what is the difference between a lecture, a tutorial, and a seminar? Basically, a lecture is where you're in a big hall, a lecture theatre, where there is one professor standing at the front of the room talking at you, and you just try to absorb every bit of wisdom that they sort of put into the universe. In lectures, you don't contribute, you just sit in your seat and you just listen and obviously make notes. Sometimes there is room for like audience participation or questions. Usually questions are at the end, but generally you could go to a lecture having done no prep work, knowing absolutely nothing, and like learn from it. Tutorials and seminars demand a lot more of you in the session. So I would say in terms of size, you have like a lecture that has, for my course, it's like 100 to 250 people. A seminar is like 15 to 25 people. And then a tutorial is like 4 to 10 people. So a lecture is like person stands at the front, talks. A tutorial, on the other hand, is like a discussion. So usually you sit around a table or in an office and you discuss something that you have been asked to research and read and talk about. Often they'll have like pre-written questions which they'll send you over an email so you can kind of prepare for them. But that sort of is just an academic discussion in the room which is led by one person who is your tutor, and they'll sort of like lead the discussion, pose questions, answer some questions that people may have as well. And again, of course, you should probably come with notes and take notes during the session. A seminar is sort of a hybrid of the two. In my experience, seminars are usually reserved for special topic modules, which is basically much smaller groups studying something that is quite niche. Again, in a seminar, you're either sitting at a desk or around a big table, and it's still very much discussion based, and you are expected to contribute and know your stuff before going in, as well as making notes in the session. But the difference is there is an element of lecturing. So the member of academic staff who leads the seminar will probably do a little like preamble. They'll teach you some stuff at the beginning, and then maybe throughout the course of the seminar, they'll like talk about something and then open a discussion about it. So I hope that kind of helps. Obviously, for all three, you are recommended to like do some work beforehand, but you probably wouldn't get away with not doing the work for a seminar and especially a tutorial. Today I am mostly prepping for my first seminar in my South Asian post-colonial literature module. And so I basically thought I would share a step-by-step run through of what I'm doing to prepare. To quote Snoop Dogg, "Greetings loved ones, let's take a journey." Okay, so the first thing you should absolutely definitely do is check your emails. In a vast majority of cases, in fact pretty much always, your tutor or seminar leader will email you in advance of the session basically telling you what you need to do to prepare and what the session will be about. Because what I didn't realize before going to university is that you actually have hardly any tutorials at all. So for my subject, which is English, for example, so like a Bachelor of Arts, we get 4 tutorials per module per year. So that's pretty much 2 tutorials per term for the first 2 terms, meaning they're every like 4 weeks. And so you really have to make the most of it. The more you put in, the more you get out. And so it is really worth checking the email and knowing your stuff before you go in, and basically giving yourself plenty of time to prepare. Obviously, this is just like the ideal best case scenario. I'm not saying that I have been super incredibly prepared every single time. In fact, in my first year, I got nothing out of tutorials and seminars because I rarely prepped. I did not know my stuff before going in. And it was only really last year that I realized how beneficial those sessions actually are. And if you know your stuff before going in, you can learn so much from those sessions. So I am going to check my email for this seminar that I've got today. Okay, so the email just says, in the introductory seminar next week, we will discuss some of the ways in which the notion of resistance will be conceptualized for the purpose of this module. We will also examine 2 texts, a poem by Kamala Das, fittingly entitled An Introduction, and a short story by Jhumpa Lahiri, The Treatment of Bibi Halder. The 2 texts can be accessed via Duo, which is basically like our online, it's like Durham University online. They can be found in a folder labelled Seminar 1 under Teaching Materials. So basically the email will probably have the reading that you need to do to understand the seminar. And so because she's named those 2 texts in that email, she will absolutely expect us to have read them. Like, that's just the basics. Sometimes in a tutorial or seminar, they'll like give you some reading, which you read in the session and then feedback on. And obviously they're not expecting you to have read that in advance. And anything extra aside from this like preliminary reading is a bonus to you and to the session. But like if they've named specifically 2 things you should read, read them. This email was actually sent out like last week, and so I did actually do the reading for this a couple of days ago. And so my next sort of step is to do some contextual research. So right now I'm going to research both the authors that we need to study, and also this is an introductory lecture, so I actually don't know an awful lot right now about South Asian colonialism, and so I think it will probably benefit me quite a lot to do that research now and know my stuff before going in. And so to make it nice and easy and mix things up a bit, I just searched on YouTube South Asian colonization and then found these 2 videos which I'm going to watch and make some notes on. Those notes I've made are just super messy. I just wrote down as much as I could, so I need to go through here and bulk them out a bit and make them all make sense. And one thing that I find really useful with notes like that is to just put things under clear headings, especially because you may need to reference them in the seminar or tutorial. Like, you might just want to flick back to them because you can have your laptop like in front of you, so if the tutor starts saying something and you're like, wait, hang on, I have a note on that, you could just like quickly go to your subheading, so it's really easy to find. So you might be able to contribute and answer a question or ask a question, but basically you're making sure that all the research you've done is like at your disposal. So now I sort of have some contextual background to the period and the history. I'm also going to quickly research the 2 authors that we're studying and having a rough idea of when they lived, what they experienced, why they wrote, and when they wrote these texts that they did. And you don't need to read something super highbrow, like I'm just going to look on Wikipedia to see a basic, you know, background and biography to these people. So just from doing that, I now have 3 pages full of notes on the author of one of the poems, and I'm now going to do the same for the author of the short story that I need to read. Next, and what I'm doing right now, is checking for other extended reading that I could do. And what I mean by that is that your university like online hub will probably have reading lists and extra prep that you can do. Also, obviously I don't know what every single university in the country is like, but we have our library sort of online, so you can check for books and see what's available, and a lot of things you can read just as articles online via our library website. So I'm basically going to have a quick look and see if I can find like 1 or 2 critical articles on either of the authors, or alternatively just on an introduction to South Asian colonization. So basically now I am just searching on the Durham University library website to see if there's anything in particular that I could read. So there's this article here called Unusual But Honest, Kamala Das and Confessional Poetry, Treatment of Love and Sex in Kamala Das's Poetry, Depiction of Women's Dilemmas in Select Poems of Kamala Das, a review. So already you can see there are so many articles that I could read. I'm just going to quickly check if there's anything to do with this specific poem that we've been sent. There seems to be this, which is from the Atlanta Review, An Introduction in Stone Age, a Feminist Approach to Kamala Das Poems. So that is a specific article which is just about this poem. So if I look on there, there will probably be a bibliography attached to this article, which will lead me to other things which are also of use, because they'll be the things that they have referenced and quoted and drawn from. Page not found, but at least you tried. Wow, doesn't that just sum up my degree so far? Well, okay, so that's really helpful. Okay, here we go, I found it somewhere else. So basically what I'm saying is utilize your library resources. Also, as well as that, often on your page, if you have like a specific page for your like modules, so this is the specific page on the Durham University website for my module, and they often have teaching materials, module information, library resources. There we go, that's what we want. And here it just has loads of recommended reading that you could do around the subject. I hope that sort of helps in terms of like how I find resources, because I know that a lot of people always message me going like, I don't know where to find them, like I want to find them, I just don't know where to look. And that's a good starting point, but as I said, you can check like bibliographies, so even if the article you're reading isn't that helpful, something in the bibliography might be exactly what you're looking for, it just might not come up on a Google search. So right now I am going to go through that article that I just found and make some notes on it, and then do a bit more research. Basically, now that I've done all this background research, I'm actually going to reread the text that I was sent by the seminar leader in the email. Basically, because the first time I read it, I was just sort of absorbing it, whereas this time I'm obviously going in with a more like critical mindset. I know all the background contextual stuff, and so I can sort of comment on it with actual knowledge. And so yeah, that is kind of how I am prepping for the seminar. The only other things I would do after this are that if there are any specific questions that the academic supervisor has like asked in their email to specifically prepare for, sometimes there's like a handout that has a set of questions, then I would obviously go through and find answers to them and make some notes specifically on those headings. And the final thing I will also do if I have time is just pad out the notes, so put them all into one place so that I have them on my laptop in one document ready for the seminar. And as I said before, just put them under clear headings, and yeah, basically create your own like research document that you are ready to quote from and talk about and discuss in the seminar / tutorial. So I hope this video was useful. I hope it sort of showed what a seminar and tutorial actually are and how you can prep for them. I know it's that time of year where a lot of you will have just started university and you're still trying to get your head around it, and it is confusing and overwhelming, so don't worry, you'll get the hang of it eventually. I'm in 3rd year and I'm still working it out, but yeah, I am now going to head off to my first tutorial and seminar of the whole year, and tomorrow at 5 PM the daily vlogs will continue, so I will see you then. If you liked this video and found it useful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more. As I said before, I am daily vlogging at the moment, so there's a new video up every single day at 5 PM about my university life. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye!
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.